I got to kick this thing off. Can I kick it off? 1, 2, 3, 4. Ladies and gentlemen, listen.
I don't doubt it, because you look at it, because you remember back in the day we had LBC, but there were other, back when Mizzou was there, you talked about SEC, right? When we were talking about before we started the show, Mizzou was part of the SEC. When we was in school, it was part of the Big Eight.
Yeah, Big Eight, Big 12, yeah.
But probably not Eureka. Eureka probably came in Big 12, but I know me, I know me for sure. And
my freshman year was the first year of Big 12.
Your freshman year was? So mine was Big Eight.
Yeah.
So you remember we used to have Big Eight. They called it Big Eight, where all the Black leadership organizations, Black student-led governments, they would rotate and go to different universities. All the Black student leaders would come together. Now we just use it as an opportunity to party, right? But for those who were really doing what they were supposed to do, I'll speak for myself. I was just trying to party. I ain't gonna talk about y'all. Well, I'm gonna talk about Lab too, because Lab was trying to party too. You know what I'm saying? Eureka's the Doogie House. But that networking, really, you know, that collaboration, you're just like, oh man, I know her. I remember her from Big Eight. I remember him from Big Eight or whatever. Then it turned into Big 12. I don't even know if they even have it anymore.
Right.
I don't even know if they have that anymore. So that's what I'm just trying to drive home the point. I know I'm rambling. I'm trying to drive home the point how this is a targeted attack on institutions that are going to protect us going forward. Because if you take away the future leaders and their ability to be honed and developed in the future, we don't have anybody that can fight. We talk about how the kids now, they get the information from TikTok and, you know, 60-minute clips. They don't have an attention span, and how cooked we are because this generation don't want to do any research, any fact-based research. Now, you got the kids that are actually being trained how to do fact-based research, to critically think. And if you make it harder for them to get that development, then what do you have?
Yeah. I mean, obviously they have a plan, and the plan is going accordingly. So, I mean, I think, like you said, we're the only ones who were just sitting back reacting instead of being proactive. So something definitely has to change.
Yeah, for sure. But speaking of critical thinking, this brother right here, I wish he would employ more critical thinking before he talks sometimes. I love him as a basketball player. I love a lot of things he does off the court. But LeBron, I'm gonna just keep it real. I've always said there's some people that love white folks way too much. Some of us. I'm starting to think LeBron might be in that category, man. He might be in that category. I'm gonna tell you why I say that. So LeBron been under some heat because he went on this golf YouTube show. I think the guy's name is Bob Does, right? So LeBron was on the golf course with these guys, bunch of white dudes, and they were talking about something like, you know, him being 41 and being on the road, and he expressed like his disdain for going to Milwaukee and to Memphis. Right. He's like, I hate going to Memphis and this moving to Nashville. You got NASCAR there. You got all this there. And you got these white boys like, well, you know, I don't think LeBron would want to play for the Grizzlies anymore. And a lot of people had a problem with that because Memphis is a predominantly Black city.
Yeah.
And the NBA and the revenue that the NBA team brings into the city is very important to this Black ran city. So people took umbrage to LeBron yucking it up with these white boys on the golf course, talking about how bad Memphis sucks. Now, I already know one person on the show is going to talk about how much they hate Memphis as well. They've said it plenty of times. And I'll let them out themselves. But I will say that that person is not alone. And there's several people that say, like, I can't stand Memphis. But I'm going to ask the question, Was LeBron out of line?
I mean, it's like UNC used to say, just be quiet.
Yeah.
Just be quiet. Because I mean, if you don't like Memphis, just don't go. Don't do Memphis in May. Don't, you know what I mean? You're going there and making money. So if you don't like it there, just don't go. But there are lots of people who love it there. And there's lots of culture there, culture that needs to be preserved. And like you said, that revenue coming into the city is very important to preserving that culture. And even in Milwaukee, like I have family there. So I know firsthand a lot of people who've worked for, maybe not necessarily the NBA, but they work for the sports teams, especially when they're younger. And if we stop having employment opportunities for these young men, what do you think is going to happen to the city? It's going to get worse. That's the last thing I want to see. So I
Yeah,
think
you
that he
know,
should just be.
and I got to say this, man. People are focusing on Memphis, but he did say Milwaukee as well, right? And Milwaukee is a god awful city. The state of Wisconsin. Now you do the research. The state of Wisconsin is the worst state for Black people in the U.S. in terms of talking about the quality of life, the number of black people incarcerated in the state of Wisconsin. It's documented. The state of Wisconsin is awful. It's an awful state for Black people, right? Memphis definitely has its challenges with poverty and with crime, infrastructure, whatever you want to, however you want to frame it. But my problem with LeBron is that's not a conversation. You are old enough. You talking about I'm 41, right? You're old enough to know that there's certain things that you really shouldn't be talking about with these white boys.
Yeah.
And he continues to make this mistake. As much as I love LeBron, I remember how he was on stage with Justin Timberlake. I can't stand Justin Timberlake for what he did to Janet.
He from Memphis.
Fuck Justin Timberlake.
Right.
I know I don't like to curse on the show, but fuck Justin Timberlake.
That tracks.
We love Janet, right?
Yes, we do.
LeBron on stage, just my brother dancing and all this old stuff, right? Then you got beef with Stephen A. Smith. I don't have a problem with that because Stephen A. Smith deserves all the fire that he gets, right? Because he we know about Stephen A. But then you go on Pat McAfee show, another goofy white boy, to talk about Stephen A. Now I don't know about y'all. I'll talk about Black people, but I ain't gonna talk about Black people in front of white people. And I
Not to
don't know
go
why.
on their show, yeah.
And not to go on their show. Like
Yeah.
you could have went on any show. I understand
Any show, yeah.
a podcast ain't ESPN, but you are LeBron James.
Yeah.
You LeBron
Well,
James. You could have went on
show.
the Breakfast Club, even though I don't really fool with them. You could have used your influence to go anywhere because he don't really do interviews like that.
No.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing with your boy. We ain't gonna go there, but with Jay-Z, you doing an interview with GQ when you could have did it, with a black media. But I ain't gonna touch Jay-Z because I know how y'all feel about him, right? So like LeBron continually to making these mistakes. I'm not ready to just say he's a sellout or anything, but you got to tighten it up. You got to tighten it up because your influence is too important, and you have to be at a point at 41. You keep saying I'm 41. I'm 41. Well, at 41 comes knowledge and wisdom.
No, yeah.
Good.
And he's one of those people that I think he knows he shouldn't have done it, but he's gonna double down on it though. So then he comes back and says, not just Memphis and not just Milwaukee. I don't like going to Cleveland either. And I'm from there. And he says that, like that makes it better. No, that's what you picked, like literally probably the three blackest cities outside of Detroit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I ain't gonna say Milwaukee ain't that black, but you got Akron, Cleveland, and Memphis.
Yeah,
you dogging
the
them.
Rust Belt, the place that you grew up, and you see how state governments are literally at war with these majority black cities. You think about Tennessee, they take the funding from there. I mean, we just talked about Missouri. The state of Missouri, outside of Kansas City and St. Louis, they hate Kansas City and St. Louis. I'm sure it's the same way with Tennessee. Outside of Memphis, they hate Memphis. And so they're going to underfund them. They're not going to give them the resources, and so then, yeah, you are going to have quote unquote aesthetically bad looking cities or what have you, because they're not getting the full support that these other cities are getting.
And you look at Nashville. You look at Nashville. Compare Bill Street to Broadway Street. You got jazz and blues versus honky tonk, right? You got NASCAR. You got all the different corporate headquarters that are in Nashville, right? Nashville is like a white man's Atlanta, like Boston is. Nashville is like a miniature white Atlanta for them white boys. So you up here trying to direct, just go to Nashville. And the thing that really made it disappointing, you got your white boy voice on.
That to me, that was
you got your white boy voice on when you saying that.
Yeah.
Now listen, go ahead.
If he had said that on The Shop, where he's on there with Maverick Carter and the other cats that he grew up with or whatever, I think it would have hit differently too. But like you said, he's on the golf course, which LeBron just started playing golf 2 months ago, over this past summer with these white kids. These are young kids. You know what I mean? They're not even like well established. So they're doing everything for clickbaits and they're trying to get you and you fell right into it.
Yeah.
They using you to broaden their platform.
And I'll be damned if I'm a billionaire using a white boy voice.
Yeah.
Now, listen. I didn't have to change my voice in the past before, working in corporate America. I ain't gonna front. I don't do it no more.
Yeah.
I don't do it no more. I'm very secure in what you get is what you get from me, right? But it's just super disappointing. And to be smug about it. Because here's my thing, LeBron. You've done a lot for the Black community. You've done a lot for Black people. You don't like what's going on in Memphis. You don't like what's going on in Akron. Do something about it. You got the ability to do it. You started the school. Now, when he started the school in Akron and they was going after him, I rolled for him because they was like, LeBron started the school in Akron and the scores are in the tank and this, that, and the other. It was a wraparound school, right? So this school that provides services, in terms of like, food, job placement for the parents, all these different things, right? And they said the scores is in the tank or whatever. And I said, well, damn, what do you think? If you're going after the people that need these services, you're going to have a harder time getting them up to par. That's where the resources is needed. I gave him props for that. He didn't do an Oprah and say, well, listen, you know what? I made my money in Chicago, but I'm going to start a school in Africa. He did his thing. But if you got the wherewithal, if you got the means to be able to make a difference, then do that. Don't get up there and talk shit about a city that is predominantly Black. And maybe he don't know. Maybe he didn't know.
No, he does. That's the crazy part, because he did partner with Penny Hardaway, and did some like built some basketball courts and all this kind of like a basketball facility type deal maybe 10 years ago or something in Memphis.
He knows.
Yeah, he knows. And the sidebar, it was kind of a, I ain't gonna say it was a big deal, but he had his shoes that came out and he was that he wore when he was in Memphis this year. And they was it was like in Black History Month, but he colored them to Lorraine